Hey guys, Tech Timmy here. So my Divoom Times Gate finally arrived. It's a little bit smashed up, like most of my boxes are these days. If you follow my channel, you know. And it's just crazy. I don't know if the UPS guy has a vendetta against me or what, but this is a product that I have been very much looking forward to receiving. So this is the cyberpunk digital dashboard that will display all of your socials. You can display pixel art. You can set it up as a clock, which I think was the original intent of this thing, and 100 other things that you can display on here. So without further ado, let's take it out of the box and we'll take a first look, and I will also do a little bit of, I'll do a setup using the app and also give you my first impressions. So let's go.
Oh boy. It's Tech Timmy time.
All right, so the outer box is a little bit smashed. I have my bat knife out here. This knife is super sharp and it kind of scares me. It's so sharp a little bit, but all right, here we go. So I'm going to carefully cut the tape off the outer box here. My understanding is that there should also be an inner box inside. My fellow tech reviewers have been raving about the presentation and the packaging on this guy, and I'll just say, yeah, it's just very well done. So this bag here has got some what do you call that, like bubble wrap effect to it, so that's well done. And then we also have an inner gift bag inside. So Times Gate. Oh, I just want to point out on the outer box, Spark Your Life. I love that. I think that's really cool. So all right, the outer box gone, and then here we go. We are going to take this out of the gift bag next, and I don't know if there's anything I would actually use that bag for, but okay. I digress, and nothing else in here. But again, presentation, super nice. And I think it just speaks volumes about the manufacturer's commitment to quality on this guy. But we'll see. I mean, the proof is going to be in getting the setting up and using it. I am not going to be a fanboy until I actually start using this thing, and I can report back with a full review for you guys later on. But we will today get it out of the box and set it up. So the inner box, attention to detail is fantastic. So we have Times Gate, futuristic looking little, I would say that's a time port. I don't want to click on it because I might get transported out of here. But okay, and then on the bottom, what do we have? We have just some legalese and a couple of UPC codes, and that's all fine. And then here we have a little bit of a sticker. There we go. Okay, so there's a sticker there. And now I'm assuming that to get this out of this box, we just push this in here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to push that in, and indeed, it opens. And ooh, all right, Mr. Not going to be a fanboy. Easy there. This is a very cool presentation, I have to say. In terms of unboxings, and I've done easily, I wouldn't say 100, but between 50 and 100 for sure, unboxing. This is probably one of the nicer presented products. Maybe the Spira water gun, it's sort of reminiscent of that to me, but this is really one of the nicer presentations that I've come across, and it lives up to what you've seen on YouTube, guys. I mean, if you have been researching this like me, what you see is what you get. So it's not, you shouldn't be in for too much of a surprise, but well done. And then so here we have, and again, attention to details is awesome. So we have type C to A standard, but the cord itself is this nice braided sort of rope-like material. I love that. And I will say that this doesn't have a battery option, and I think that would be a nice addition for the company, because this is the kind of thing that you'd want to basically be able to go cordless with from time to time. I know for myself, some of my backdrops for my YouTube videos, it's kind of hard. YouTube and other social media videos, it's kind of hard to basically, have to plug everything in all of the time. But and it feels awesome. It feels solid. So we have our 5 digital displays for each of the things or the widgets or what have you that you want to display. You can display your clock across all of them. So, hours, minutes type thing. or you can display a variety of different widgets. For me, I'm most excited about using this to display my socials in real time. So my YouTube subscribers, for instance, I believe it will also do TikTok as well, and then views, likes, that sort of thing. So I just think that that's super cool, and I'm also hoping that I can get the Tech Timmy logo on here as well. And so we're gonna have quite the peel here. So this piece of plastic goes right across the top. So it starts here, and there we go. Wow. And again, attention to detail. Gotta love it. So here we go. So we're working through the peel here. And then, so I would say maybe from top down and off. There we go. Okay. So wonderful. So we have our plastic off, and then on the top we have our controls. So we have light, mode, and it looks like a left and right scroll here. And then also, I'm not sure what that is, but we will find out. That's probably power in the middle. This is where the magic happens in our displays. On the bottom, we have the Divoom logo, futuristic looking. I like that. And then the rubberized feet is a nice touch. So they really did spare no, they didn't really miss too many details here. Even the back, we have times travel. I see what they did there. Times Gate, times travel instead of time travel, unless it was just a mistake, whatever, but fine. And then, so all this stuff, I would say, you want to kind of pull at it, but don't. This is just, purely aesthetic, but I love the aesthetic, and I think that this is going to make, like I said, a really nice addition to my backdrop. So without being too much of a fanboy, which I said I wouldn't do, I'm going to put that back here. And then in this beautiful package, so we also have a dust jacket for the documentation. I mean, that's something you don't see every day, guys. You do not see a dust jacket for the documentation every day. And then Timesgate, will it have little teeny bitty itty bitty type? Yes. Ooh, even smaller than usual. So that, okay, and so we have multiple languages. So it looks like here, okay, so we have multiple languages. So this long document is probably, we're only going to need a few pages out of here because it's again, so this is in multiple languages. So totally fine. I would just say, if you guys want to call me and I can give you some pointers on the documentation, I'm a technical writer by trade. The only thing I would do, I'll just say right off the bat right now, is you want to up that font face a little bit, because people get aggravated because they have to, pull out their magnifying glass to read the documents. And then here we have a inspection, so pass 10, so 10 out of 10. So that's a little inspection notification. So well done, very, very well done on the packaging. All right, so next I am going to plug this in, and I'm going to download the app, and we're going to run through a quick setup and demo, and I'm going to get to that in about 2 minutes flat, so this video doesn't run too long. So let's go. All right, so I guess we may as well power it on first here. So I've got my Divoom cable, USB-C to A, and I have my charging, or my power brick here is off camera. So I'm just going to plug that in. And rumor has it is that this will actually fire up on its own without pressing any buttons. I don't know. Oh, yeah, indeed. All right, there we go. So that's what the back looks like. I'm going to flip it over here. And that's what the front looks like. Awesome, huh? All right, so next we're going to do the app install. All right, so I adjusted my setup a little bit here. We're going to go ahead and scan to download the app here. So I'm selecting that guy. And I'm going to say open in Chrome. There we go. And I'm filming on my iPhone 8 now. I figured I'd pull out my older phone to do the filming. Hopefully the quality is the same, so I could show you side by side what happens on the Divoom and then also in the app as well. And I think I'm just going to scooch that back just a little bit so we can get my phone up close and personal here. Install, there we go. And what I'll do is I'll fast forward through any of these tedious, slow-moving parts, if there are any. So that was very straightforward to download. And I'm going to say yes to allow it to find Bluetooth devices. I believe you do need to allow that to connect up to the Divoom via Bluetooth. And now it says add device. Start pairing pixel art. I'm just going to say plus. And here we go. Wow. Okay, so we're in the app already. And that was very straightforward. So we have Gallery Expert Album at the top. And then down here. Okay, so it wants me to create an account, so I'm going to fast forward and do that right now. Okay, so registration was very straightforward. Just needed to enter my create a username, enter my password, create a username and password, enter my email address, and so forth. Super standard. So now I'm in the app, and I'm immediately presented with this kids mode little pop-up here. I'm just going to say okay. Hopefully that gets rid of it. I do not. My kids are older, so that's not something I'm going to need to play with whatsoever. Now, I'm curious about these icons down the bottom here. So that looks like some sort of add device. Okay, so this is where we actually add our device. So I am going to say add. And then presumably it's going to find my Times Gate for me. And Pixcool LCD Wi-Fi. That's got to be it. All right, so we have the right device. So please connect the device to power source. So that we've done, as you've seen. I'm going to say next year. And then please make sure the device is in pairing mode. Check the waiting to pair animation. And indeed, we do have that on the device. Okay, it's not showing waiting to pair. Let's just confirm. Waiting to configure, it says. So hopefully that's the same thing. Next. Device is showing waiting to pair animation. We're going to say yes. Okay, so device only works with 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network. So this one is my 5 gigahertz network. Do. And like I said, I'm going to switch back over to the multi-view mode so you guys can see what's going on screen here. So everything's sort of lit up, and we have some very cool, futuristic looking animations while this is happening. Love it. Here, let's see if I can. Pretty crazy, huh? It's so awesome. Ooh, oh no, warning. Password error. I don't think that's right. I think that's just part of the animation. Oh no, it is. It says it on the screen too. That's crazy. All right, so the trick is that instead of, you need to be on the 2.4 gigahertz network when you establish the connection. Took me a minute to figure that one out, but we're getting through it here. And so now I'm hooked up to Tatooine, and now I'm going to go back into my Divoom app, and we're gonna give this another try. So hopefully this helps someone else out there that ran into the same thing. So a little bit of an ad. We don't need to see that right now. I'm going to go back into that first icon, and then we're going to say add device again. And then now we have multiple in there. That's interesting. So we're going to say Times Gate. Next. And it did say Times Gate that time. Okay, next. Waiting to pair animation. There we go. And now, so it's auto-populated. So you can't just overwrite that, basically, is the thing. Okay, so I'm going to say next. Now, hopefully it just works this time. Let's see if we get our cool little, yeah. So the Times Gate is all lit up with that cool animation again here. And push that a little bit in the center, a little bit more here for you guys. There we go. And okay, so we have a firmware update. And again, if this takes time, I'll fast forward. I recommend doing these for sure. So it says it's updating. And now we have a loading data in the middle there. Very cool. And connected. Okay, so now we're connected. And you can also invite some friends if you want. We're going to skip through that part right there. And as you saw my name, Tech Timmy there, so it is customized. And now, okay, so individual display, it says on the top of the phone here. And there we go. And so this is a tutorial, which is nice because I was curious about what all the different icons mean and things. So RGB lights. So, okay, tap to set up individual display. Boom, group display, boom. And here we go. So cyberpunk, neon, sci-fi. So YouTube, I'm very interested in actually connecting this to my YouTube. So I'll show you how to do that in a sec. All right, so if you want to customize the individual things, which I definitely do, you want to choose the thing in the middle right here. And then it will give you the option to add more or less. And then you can light up the one more or less selection. So it's already providing a default one, which is super cool. Although that weather information is wrong. This is just basically an example, I guess. So here is where we set the individual things that we want to display. So let's start with an equalizer. Why not? And then there we go. So it's already displaying the equalizer. It's that simple, guys. So very cool. So pixel art. I'm loving the equalizer. So we're going to leave that. It looks like there's multiple versions as well. Let's go with the one that looks a little more like Tetris here. I love it. And it's going to the beat of my voice. How crazy is that? Good on the equalizer. So that was a good choice. And now social. So I'll probably come back to this, but let's just see if maybe it's super easy to set up. So likes, not likes, subscribers is what I want to show. So I'm gonna click on the little YouTube one to configure it, and then YouTube account, and then where do I actually enter my name? I'm gonna just hit to the check, see what happens. Maybe it already knows my YouTube account. That'd be crazy. Nothing there. So, oh no, there it is right there. But those aren't my survivors. So those are Divoom subscribers. So there's got to be some way to update that, which I will do, but still very cool. And then, so we have our stocks, we choose from stocks and so forth. So all this is, we're on the first one here, right? So we're still configuring that. I'm going to put that back because I think it's very cool. I'm going to say check. And now there you go. So it actually puts that in there. And now this guy, we're going to say, what do we want to pick for this one? How about weather? Social weather, perfect. All right, now weather one. I like the look of the weather one, guys. What do you think? Let's go with that one. That looks really cool. If you guys have any suggestions for little gazintas to stick on there, let me know. And then here we go. Zone. So that must be time zone. Auto. Auto's good. It's not 0 degrees. City. Here we go. And now let's just try auto locate. Let's see what that does. Nope, didn't change anything on there. Let's leave auto locate off for now. Let's say manual locate and say I'm just gonna enter my zip. Say done. Search. Doesn't like the zip. Enter my city. Say search, and it did find it that time. Select area, and okay. So there's nowhere to say next to. So I'm just gonna hit the back button, and it does say Nahat there. And then I'm gonna hit the check mark here. We'll see what happens. All right, so I presumably that will update in itself in a second. And here we go. And so it is actually 30 degrees. So it's correct in the app, but the Times Gate has not updated yet, which is fine. So that'll probably take just a minute or so. Maybe it'll happen while I'm filming the video here. And now, so next, holidays. Let's add, should we add the Christmas clock? Let's do that because it's almost Christmas time here. So I'm gonna say here, I'm just gonna say, okay. And these next few, I'll get them really fast. And that's it, guys. So that's your best bet to go to setting this up. Pick the one in the middle, and you can customize the individual gazintas and gazadas. I believe this one is if you want something to span the entire thing, probably. And this one is some additional settings, so we can control the screen brightness. Let's just see if this works. Indeed, dims nicely. I like this. I like it nice and bright. I think that's the whole point, right? Oh, and then you can even adjust the ambient lighting. So these little lights around. Oh, wow, very cool. That kind of punches up the screen a little bit, but you know what? I like the ambient lighting too. I'm loving this thing. I think this is a very, very cool, will be a very cool addition to my YouTube setup for sure. And also just a fun thing to play with and tool around with that hopefully doesn't become too much of a distraction, because I would say I'm already a little bit obsessed here. And how many days to Christmas? 17 days indeed. And I will figure out that weather thing. And if it's a simple thing, I'll leave a comment down in the description in terms of how I fixed it. But so that's the unboxing and initial setup of the Divoom's Time Gate. So we have a way we can select our own images as well, and some other things here that I will do some exploring with. So we can add a pixel art. You can also add your own artwork and so forth. Hit the thumb, and you can actually even create drawings and things. So very cool, very, very cool product. So unboxing and setup of Divoom's Time Gate. Hope this video helped you guys. If it did, wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. It helps out the channel a lot. And hope to see you in the next video. I do all sorts of videos about tech. But for now, I am off to go and play with my beautiful Divoom display. Look at that. So cool. I think the equalizer is my favorite. I'll stop talking and see if it stops. I love it. See you in the next video. Bye.